Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at how the Yankees are going to figure out their closer role for October. Who should be that closer for this team? Because this team is kind of missing, in a sense, that lockdown closer that they had with Clay Holmes at the beginning of the year. As Holmes has kind of struggled a lot lately since coming back from the IL. His ERA is 3.6, definitely not where you want it to be for a guy you imagine is going to be closing a lot of games for you, or you hoped would close a lot of games for you in October. But luckily for Yankee fans and for our sanity, this team does still have an extremely deep bullpen. This team is still very strong in the pitching department, and so there are a plethora of options to look at. And the first one we will be looking at is internally with guys that were here in the beginning of the year and have performed very well or have performed well as of late. And have closed games for the Yankees in the past, whether it's this year or last year. And we're going to first look at Jonathan Loáisiga, who's pitched a lot better since coming back from the injured list. His ERA is a 2.63. The FIP is 2.81. He has saved a few games here or there. He has not given up a home run since coming back from the IL. He is a guy who's very ground ball heavy, 58.4% ground ball rate. Strikeouts are down this year, which isn't great. But the walks have been down since coming back from the IL, which is a good sign. Batters just struggle to really make contact against Loáisiga and loud contact against Loáisiga. He really does a great job at managing contact, at keeping the ball on the ground, at avoiding barrels. He's only given up one barrel since coming back from the IL. This is a sample size of 24 innings. While he's only gotten that one save against the Mets, it was a very big save for the Yankees. They needed him to be that guy in that situation, and he absolutely was. Seeing that he's pitched so much better lately is a great sign. We know how great he was last year. We know how great he can be for a team that is, again, looking at Clay Holmes. He's kind of trending downwards. This is a good sight for the Yankees. And you look at Wandy Peralta, that left-handed option, the Yankee bullpen, who has pitched very well for the Yankees since coming back from the IL last August. This year, he's been remarkable. 2.40 ERA, a 2.86 FIP. The swinging strike rate, 16.5%. The O swing rate, which is chase rate, is 37.6%. He's just doing a lot of things really well this year. He's mixing up his pitches a lot better. Last year we knew he became a very change-up heavy guy, but he's added a slider into the fold. He's thrown the slider a little bit more lately. He's at a 22.9% slider usage in his last 19 and a third innings pitched. The ERA is 2.33. The strikeouts are up in that time span. The walks are a little bit up, but overall the performance has been better. I look at Wandy as a guy who is a strong candidate to get big time outs for the Yankees. I look at him as a guy who has a very high chance of getting the Yankees big outs when needed. If you look at win probability added, of course, being a metric we evaluate or we look at for context added performance, looking at, how likely a pitcher, how big of a spot the pitcher is pitching in, are they pitching in a tie game? Are they pitching with a lead? Do they close a game out? Factoring for different situations of a game and the win probability changing when they're on the mound versus when they're not off the mound. Win probability added is a phenomenal metric for relievers on a result basis. And Peralta's been phenomenal in that regard. So the Yankees have gone to him in big spots, and he's performed in big spots. So the slider, the changeup, the fastball, or I guess the sinker, they're all plus pitches. He's a plus pitcher. He's a guy who handles lefties and righties extremely well. And so, I look at him and Loáisiga, ground ball guys, very soft contact against, and I look at them as great options and alternatives at the closer spot if the Yankees need to get 3 outs in the ninth inning with the lead. These two guys are phenomenal options. And then we look and we kind of turn at kind of the younger guys, Marinaccio and Schmidt. I don't think Schmidt's necessarily closer material. I don't think he's at that point yet. I think he's more valuable multi-inning, potentially getting a spot start here or there. Just not a guy I look at to close games. But I will say that his 2.59 ERA, his 3.07 FIP, his emphasis on using his slider more lately. I mean, ever since he started using his slider as his primary pitch, he's been remarkable for the Yankees. He's looked really good. He has pitched extremely well in his last 24.2 innings pitched. The 2.19 ERA, the 2.09 FIP, 3.36 SIERA. He looks really, really, really good right now for the Yankees. And I think that ultimately I look at a guy who's this slider heavy, and I look at him as a guy to go out and get big strikeouts for the Yankees in the middle of innings. Again, not necessarily a guy I'm going to be putting in a ninth inning, but definitely someone you look at as maybe in a pinch you put him there. But who knows? As for Ron Marinaccio, he's been really good this year. 1.88 ERA, 31.2% strikeout rate, a solid FIP, a solid SIERA. Doesn't get hit hard at all. His line drive rate is a measly 13.6%, which is great for a pitcher. You don't want guys hitting line drives off of you. 84.8 mile per hour exit velocity against a mere 25.6%. hard hit rate, a strong strikeout to walk rate, 18.5%. He's just really, really, really good this year. His stuff is phenomenal. He has a great fastball, great slider. Obviously, the changeup's really, really good. I again look at Marinaccio as a guy the Yankees can definitely use in big spots. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to be closing games for the Yankees consistently, but you know what? If you need to get him in the ninth inning against some tough lefties, he can absolutely handle them. Lefties have really, really, really not performed well against Marinaccio. They've hit 157 with a 257 slugging. He's kind of a guy with reverse splits, as you know, he's performed a little bit better against lefties than he has against righties. So ultimately, a guy that you look at to get big outs if need be. And then we look at the trade options. Scott Effross, Lou Trevino, both of them have performed well as a Yankee. Effross coming back from the IL. Trevino's pitched really well for the Yankees. He's got a 1.13 ERA, 2.98 FIP. He's used his slider and his cutter more. And then for Effross, he's just been really good in general. He has gotten saves in the past. He's pitched in high leverage in the past. As a Yankee, he's pitched a lot of high leverage. I mean, if you look at the win probability added as a Yankee, it's already at a 1. He's been injured, so he's only pitched a select few games to the New York Yankees. He's got not 8 1/3 innings underneath his belt, 3.24 ERA, but on the season, a 2.75, a 2.38 FIP. The home runs aren't really an issue for him at a 0.52 home run per 9 rate. They're both good options in the ninth inning. We've seen Trevino get big outs and a save against the Blue Jays when they absolutely needed him to go out and shove. We've seen Effross get a big save at Fenway, tough ballpark to pitch in. Both those guys provide different looks. You look at Effross, he's a submarine type of guy throwing in the low 90s, and Trevino is a guy with a big-time sinker, really big sweeping fast slider, and good velocity. Both those guys provide exactly what the Yankees need at the back end of that bullpen. And so for the Yankees, ultimately, is Clay Holmes going to be closing games for them? Maybe not, right? I think Clay Holmes is still a good pitcher. He still gets soft contact. The exit velocity again since coming back from the IL is still 9.6%, which isn't hard hit. 33.8% barrel rate is not very high. The launch angle is a negative. He's still getting strikeouts, a 26.8% strikeout rate. The problem for him is just feels like he's very much not capable of pushing past whatever issues he's been having with his command. It feels like his command's a little bit off. Feels like he's struggling a little bit to execute. And hopefully he gets batters to, he finds a little bit of himself, because he doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be first half Clay Holmes. He just has to be a good pitcher for him, the Yankees, to go very far in the playoffs. Because again, the bullpen's very deep. We've discussed, I believe, a good 6 options in Schmidt, Marinaccio, Trevino, Effross, Loaizaga, and Wandy that can be alternatives. I've discounted Schmidt a little bit as a closer just because he hasn't done it yet. But I look at the other 5 guys and I look at them as really strong options to close games for the Yankees in the playoffs. Chapman, I don't trust too much. Britton, we don't know what he is. I look at guys like Ridings, who we don't know what he is as well. Lichtke's pitched well at the bullpen, but he's not a closer. But ultimately, the Yankees do have the depth in the bullpen to go different directions if they need to come October. But with that being said, let us know what you guys think about the Yankees close situation. Do you go with Wandy? Do you go with Loaizaga? Do you stick with Holmes, Effross, Trevino, Marinaccio? Anyone I left out? And let me know what you guys think. So make sure to check out Fireside Yankees on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and the YouTube page, of course. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for checking us out. Peace out.